they feel like it's the most dangerous right now. This is a matchup where you cannot leave Caitlyn available. We saw yesterday that some teams were leaving it available. This is not one of those matchups, so that will have to hit the ban list. But even the Karma coming out here, the Ezreal Karma has been gaining popularity, and so the Karma will be banned here.
We have two paths ahead of us. Does Lucian get banned? Because if... Oh, it's Jace instead. So now Gen G probably going to leave open both Lucian and Zeri and then pick whichever is left available to them. The Jace ban, a pick that, even with some of the itemization changes, has still been at the forefront. But no, going to be the Lucian instead. Varus still available as well. And T1 would not be surprised if they pick that up. And that might mean that Gen G can either go for a Zeri pick, knowing that the laning phase is going to be very, very rough, or try and look in a different direction. Also will mean that Peanut probably just going to pick Wukong regardless. Okay.
That was quick. Annie is here to stay. Wukong has been a very common pick here for Peanut. Is most played. He's 5-3 on it, and he's been making a lot of plays on this pick. Now, Elise is available. Did not get banned here with the 380 carry bans from Gen G. But owner is Sejuani.
That's the face of a jungler who does what he needs to do to win for his team.
The coach just nods behind him. He's like, oh, God.
And as bad as it might feel, I like the call. Gen G is a team that the power of Elise comes from running over your opponent early on. Peanut, to me, is one of the best defensive junglers in the LCK, so trying to go for a pick that needs to snowball is a big risk in a game number one. T1 not going to take that risk. Sejuani is, outside of Maokai, the most well-rounded jungler that we have at the moment, and will be given over to owner as the Victor already getting picked up here early, kind of pushing Gen G into an awkward spot. Do they want to either showcase where the Annie is going, although Annie into Victor doesn't sound like the best of times, or are we going to see Chovy pick up, say, in Azir here?
Yeah, he's pretty much got his pick of the litter, right? Other than the Jace. That could have been flex mid. So yeah, he's going to go with the Sylas here. And yeah, I thought maybe Faker would have an opportunity to play Orianna in this series if we did see mid Annie, but it's not going to be the case this time with the Sylas lock-in.
And Sylas has been struggling more and more. It does mean that the 2v2 for Gen G is incredibly strong. Also gives us mostly confirmation that this is going to be the Annie support here for Gen G. Now, barring some crazy flex shenanigans, that does mean that Gen G is still looking for an AD carry and a top laner. T1 can try and kind of thin out the pool. An R4 Gnar here, for example, could be a good choice for Gen G, and then they can try and get Pace as comfortable as a matchup here. But Zeri already taken away, and yeah, that Jax ban to me is that's R4 Gnar territory.
Yeah,
that's what we're looking at.
The Jax rising in priority, just better and better. Even some players blind picking it, a la Keen, and it's been finding a lot of success. So I don't even mind it just as a ban in general.
Agreed.
If you're not planning on playing it, if you don't want to blind pick it. And what's going to be this final ban here from T1?
Ezreal, maybe?
Jhin?
Oh, that's... Oh, yeah. That's sheepish grin. Not ideal.
Carry,
So normally, I would be a bigger fan of picking an AD carry here for Gen G, but Gen G generally have really utilized Doran's willingness to sacrifice himself for the team to try and get a better R5 angle here. Don't know if that's going to be the case here. Can also pick up... Ezreal was already mentioned, the Jhin, but no, this is very true to what Gen G does, and that is Doran going to take one for the team to make sure that his bot lane can have a full knowledge of what is going to be coming up here on the opposing team's end.
Is there any way you try to like force Kalista or something, try to get your Annie in there and try to get some big engages off? Because
sure,
I don't know, like I feel like maybe if this support feels okay, perhaps you throw it in, but the Aurelia is going to be the choice here for Zeus in the top lane.
This is what we know Carrier wants to lock in. Big Nautilus fan. Will be a pick that initially T1 composition looked like it could go in a more poke, long range direction with Varus. assuming it's going to be lethality and the Victor as well. What we're seeing now is that with the Sejuani, the Nautilus, and the Aurelia looking a lot more like a comp that might want to brawl in the early to mid game as the Draven R5 coming through here. That is a aggressive bot lane. Varus Nautilus versus the Draven and Annie. And Gen G making a statement after their bot lane having a really tough time early on in the previous game. But the downside of this is that Peanut is going to have to pay attention to bot lane because, again, who gets that in this bot lane probably is going to run away with the game, which means that Doran is going to have a tough time playing alone against T1's Aurelia. And this is the risk that you take. And now for Gen G that pays off. Your R4 Gnar means that Doran is going to get counterpicked, particularly by Zeus, best top player in the league, and very happy to go for whichever counterpick he deems appropriate.
Yeah.
So if that bot lane doesn't snowball, then Gen G put their eggs in the wrong basket. And T1 here, composition that can play both 1-4, but even late game team fights very, very well.
This is the T1 train. It's headed to first place, as that's what it says. So if you want to get to first place, you just get on the T1 train. Pretty simple, as that's a bunch of animals all thinking together. Gen G, please win.
That's a peanut.
Yeah, it's a peanut in the background, but oh wait, it's a peanut in the middle too.
Yeah, there's two.
There are two peanuts. That's weird. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting one. I think that Gen G have gone for a bit of a riskier draft to start off this one. I wouldn't call it straight up worse because it does have some clear win conditions, but I'm not sure if you want to take this kind of risk against T1, but we'll see if it pays off for them.
The power of Owner here, both on his top and bottom half of the map, is very strong, but don't know how much he's going to play towards that Aurelia with the Draven and the bot lane. Expect a lot of fights towards the bot side of the map.
We'll definitely have to. Let's jump into the rip for game number 1. Here we go, T1 up against Gen G. If that's what you're looking for, top tier League of Legends, you're in the right place.
That's adorable. I just was watching the crowd. Hold on.
No time for the crowd. Owner is going to face check, and he is going to go down. First blood. We got level 1 action here. T1 seemingly winning this one with Keria leading the charge on the Nautilus. His passive very strong, but Silas also incredibly strong at level 1.
Still going.
He's going to force another flash here from Zeus, and that will be the end of it. The Annie gets a kill, but guess who else gets a kill? It's Aurelia in the top lane.
Doran is such a team player, man. It's just, yeah, you blind Gnar against the best top laner. Good luck. Good luck, bud. We're going to play towards our Draven, and then the Aurelia gets an early kill. Early boots here for Zeus.
Oh, that lane is...
yeah, that lane is... That's kind
pretty
of
doomed.
It's a nightmare scenario. And the level 1 here on either sides are quite strong. You have... If Owner stays alive for longer, that'd be ideal. Goes down rather quickly, and they lose the value of Permafrost, but Aurelia on level 1 still quite strong. And then here we see the value. Chovy having that abscond and abduct, and Victor level 1 is extremely unimpressive. Delight also, with that early stun, able to have a decent amount of impact. And yeah, I'll get it out of the way now quickly. So there's a couple of T1 fans on the Gen G side, and they were cheering very loudly. Oh, come on! That was a cute moment!
It's okay, it's okay.
They were participating in the fan chants. Thought that was wholesome, you know?
I think that's what you should do.
No,
right?
I agree, but I don't know if anyone would. Well, or everyone would.
Everyone, yeah. Some people did do it, so thanks to them. You gotta show your support for all the players, even if you're not fans, especially if you're on their side. It's definitely the Korean way as well. If you go to a baseball game, there's like a side for one side's for like one team, and then the other side is for the other team.
You yell as loud as you can, no matter what.
It's not like 100%, you know, divided up that way, but there are certainly like zones, you know, where you go to like the cheering section for the one team on their side. So here comes Owner. He's on vision. Feels like Peanut kind of expected this, you know? And he is going to show
Yeah,
himself on the top side.
This is what I was talking about earlier. Owner on a ward are actually quite big. Peanut also on a ward. He doesn't know that. So, like, this is the defensive vision that I want to talk about. I want to wait for a little bit to see if we get actual action.
So Peanut's going to jump here onto Zeus. We do have Meganar in position, but you can see that Gen G are not super confident to force the fight. I think Peanut just wanted to get the jump on him, you know, showing that, hey, there is vision in that brush. This is the fastest first blood, of course, so far in 2023 spring, here in this game number 1.
Because what happened there was Zeus, of course, has control of the wave, even without a flash level 1. So he was able to stack up a big wave. Peanut then made sure that he pathed towards top to ensure that Doran wasn't going to get dove.
Here we go again. Ignite actually used as Keria is getting a big chunk onto the light. He will go down as now Pays on the Draven trying to extend this trade. And, well, he gets a nice chunk on Daguma, but certainly advantage T1 with the kill in the bottom side.
Yeah, not going to be enough. Keria has said in interviews, I don't want to play Ashe, I don't want to play Caitlyn, I just want to pick Nautilus and hook people. And he's the 80% win rate, so very understandable. As, Owner, this time around, not going to get spotted. Very awkward spot here. Peanut is in the general vicinity.
They're just going in. They want to force this flash. I'm not sure that Doran is going to even go for it. He's got the Meganar, and he still goes for it, but it's late! As the passive was already stacked up. That is the power of melee lanes with Sejuani. And that's going to be the first kill that we see in the top lane.
And that's such a tragedy, because half a second longer, Doran goes Mega, Peanut is there, might be able to get a kill back. They had such good early vision, and they were really cognizant of the threat that Doran was under in this 1v1. But then they still get the yank off, right, after repeated efforts. And that in of itself would have been fine if not for the fact that the bot lane is also being won in a 2v2. So T1 is getting to snowball their top Aurelia that got a free first bot level 1.
All right, let's see if Zeus in the picture-in-picture is going to bite the bait. Yes, he will, absolutely, as he is in his W's trying to get on top of Doran, and he is not going to be able to trade it back. Peanut, you know, the insistency on staying in the top side and making sure that he's there eventually to get the kill actually does work out.
Paul, we are spam ganking. We are trying desperately to get every lane ahead. Really high. This is 5 kills in 5 minutes.
That's the high action you would expect from any LCK.
Exactly. Yeah, just a beautiful gang timing. Zeus hits a stun. And Doran, I think, gets baited by his own Meganar bar here. It's like, oh, if I can get it off, that will feel amazing. And then here, really nicely done by Peanut, is sacking some camps on the bottom half of the map. But Zeus, as you have to play in this matchup, playing very aggressive. A good job on Peanut to get himself the kill there. Not going to be a disaster by any means. Also, kill didn't go to Doran crucially, which does mean that he, in the 1v1, is still substantially behind. Going for a... Oh, yeah, that's a very defensive early itemization choice.
It's a build you could go for.
Yeah, well...
Guess who's here again?
Yep.
It's Owner.
Just dive him on
Peanut's
the next
here too, but Owner already extremely tanky, and now they're winning the 2v2 on the bottom side too. Guma does take a big chunk as the Ignite is a bit late. It's level 6 for Zeus. Here he hits the huge stun over the wall. Zeus, you gave him this matchup, and he is taking it and throwing it in your face.
Oh my god, they might be able to dive Doran here as well. Is risky, and with bone plating still up, not deciding to go for it. Why would they? They got the kill. What a beautiful stun by Zeus, and we were expecting the action to be towards the bot side of the map. Well, there is some there as well, but T1 really going all in on actually enabling this Aurelia, and Aurelia has been kind of a hit-or-miss champion. What we've seen, right, over the last splits, we've seen some really high-impact days. Closer comes to mind, but they have one thing in common. When Aurelia's doing well, it's when she's allowed to snowball. It's when she's played towards. And right now, not only is T1 winning the topside matchup, but they're doing so while drawing attention from Peanut. So Peanut doesn't get to snowball the bottom half of the map.
Yeah, and they're killing him too.
And they're killing him, right?
I got him, he said. he almost was like, whoa, like, I got him. That was cool.
It's the worst of both worlds. You don't actually get to stifle the Aurelia, and you also don't get to feed your Draven. Pace hasn't died yet, and bot lane is still in a decent state, even with the kill that Gumayushi got, because hasn't snowballed from there. But not getting your Draven a kill in, say, the next 15 minutes into an Aurelia is going to be a very tough affair.
Owner's just going over the wall, and okay, not going to be able to smite it away, but here comes T1 looking to take the fight afterwards. Owner in a lot of trouble, but he is getting that stun on Chovy, who will be the first one to go down, as Ingo's Peanut will trade it back. The mid laners are down, but look at Guma just doing that damage, and Curry has full health! The support is getting in there, he's looking to take everybody out, as now Peanut is like, well, I'm not going to be able to take down Guma and Owner as they back away very nicely, and Carrier is just going to be able to alley-oop that kill over to the side of Gumayusi. So a big fight win again to T1.
Only upside for Gen G is, yeah, they got the Drake, they got the cash in on Drave, and that's nice for Pace at least, but T1 answer back with so much more. Able to get a couple of key kills. Gumayusi now, even further fed, and this contest initially looks to be somewhat risky, but look at the health bars here. They are already fairly low, and crucially, the Light doesn't have Tibbers available yet, so a lot of power not quite there. And again, it's Carrier with the zone control that just ruins this fight, because they are trying to collapse onto Owner. We see the early ultimate from Chovy. He tries and take the Sejuani down, but just because Carrier is standing there menacingly at the entrance of the pit.
Yeah, how many times have we seen teams just throw everything into a Sejuani? He's not even tanky yet, and it still is not a good idea. Especially when you're overextending to try to do that. It just feels like T1, you know, playing a little bit more balanced, a little bit more to their win conditions, and Gen G are just scrambling a bit here so far. As Keria is top lane, there were no pings that I could see from Doran, who is now pushing forward to try to harass.
He has X-Flash, and he has his ultimate. Op's now gone.
Doran is going to respect it. Now, Owner's here too.
Yeah, so Carrier can finish his back and Owner can still be here.
Loving 2v1.
Yeah, loving this coverage. Just making sure that Zeus is going to be safe. There is would be a small window here, if not for the fact that look at this vision on the top half of the map, right? We can't highlight it, but just take a look at the river. Take a look at the tri-brush. Zeus has so much control from the rest of his team, and we see the only gold lead available right now for Gen G is just because Pace got that one cash in. So the Draven at least is not going to feel too horrible about his direct lane matchup, but you're still playing Draven into a lot of enemy aggression. And if Carrier ever gets an ultimate off, if Zeus gets backline access, he's still going to be in deep trouble.
And Peanut's here again, but, you know, the ganks from him have not quite hit the mark in terms, I mean, he's been in the right place, quote unquote, you know, trying to help out his top lane, trying to get Doran through this matchup. He hasn't been able to help bot because of it, as we mentioned, but yeah, it hasn't quite been as effective so far. So we'll hope that Peanut can kind of get something going on the Wukong now, especially because he is level 6, as Keria is just going on an expedition of his own. The Light will respect that.
And now there are still win conditions for Gen G later in the game, but you got to keep the deficit to where it is right now. And T1 are doing a really good job, and they're, in my opinion, our best snowballing team that we have within the league at the moment at pushing these leads further. Zeus, once he goes back, probably going to be done with his Bladed Ruined King, so any skirmish he joins already becomes basically unwinnable for Gen G. Also see that Chovy going back to the build that we used to go to on Silas as Pace.
Yeah, Pace is not a flash. He is in a lot of trouble as Owner is coming forward here, and there's the burst from the arrow from Guma downtown, as now Peanut is desperate to try to trade one back, and he will be able to, as Delight now trying to do that damage. Owner doesn't have much himself, but
Tibbers?
Yeah, Tibbers is really getting in there. Our 5th champion in the trade. Tibbers getting that damage in, as Tibbers might be able to get the last tip, but no, it will be Peanut who steals it away from Tibbers. As now Chovy trying to get in the front line, a big Nautilus ultimate onto both. As Faker in a little bit of trouble, just not quite a flash yet, but Chovy doesn't have the damage yet, I don't believe, as he will get hooked under turret, but, you know, Chovy's pretty tanky at this point. Also going for the Everfrost build, actually. And yeah, he's just going to back away from this one without a kill in his pocket.
Both top laners had teleport, neither of which wanted them to invest that. And, oh, Doran. Oh, no. There's a lot of gold in Zeus' pocket, so I wouldn't be surprised. No, he does actually cancel his back there.
Flash, too. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that he's sitting on, like, a full blade back. Once he does actually go for it, hasn't gone back in the longest time. And the unfortunate reality for Pace is that you can't do a lot about that Nautilus combo. Carrier does really nicely, and the damage from Guma still comes through. But then already, even though this is Delight as just level 6, in this longer fight, Timbers unironically does do a lot of damage. Right, being it's a level down, but the damage that Delight is able to provide is still fairly substantial. Then here Chovy's TP comes in, and again, I want to draw attention to like Carrier's Nautilus, right? Being able to make sure that he actually buffers the Q there, so that even though he does get hit by his own ultimate, he is completely fine, and then subsequently also saves his own mid laner.
That is a clone.
That is a
Yeah, it's a hook and it chains into a clone, but they did get this. And guess what, guys? It's a Hextech Soul for game number 1. So we've already had 13 kills in 13 minutes. And now we're going to have a bunch more because both these teams cannot let this one go away. It's too strong. This Blade did finish for Aurelia, by the way.
Yeah.
Just pick that up.
Unleashed teleport now available. Will be there for Zeus and Doran, who, as mentioned, didn't get baited into trying to go for some bottom place. Pays, unfortunately, with that kill that they were able to find on him, was unable to get a second early cash in, so now he's going to have to spend a fair amount of time building up his stacks again. And the overall game state for Gen G going to be very dependent on them leveraging their team fighting power, because that's the one edge that I do think they still have. When you look at the 5v5s, right, the wombo combo between Annie and Chovy, you can steal maybe a Carrier ultimate or a Zeus ultimate and a big Gnar.
Whirling Death.
Yeah, there's a lot of power there. But it does also require T1 to kind of walk into it. And T1 have been very good at kind of pulling apart the map. They have a fair amount of members who actually are really hard to kill, right? You have Zeus, a lot of survivability with his W. Aurelia in general, kind of hard to lock down, so a lot of mobility there.
Rod Victor.
We have Rod Victor, and even though in terms of damage, it's not the build that we're most excited about, it is very good for survivability. And then we have Guma also going for the more defensive Varus build. So actually finding a target for Gen G will be somewhat tough, and the Drakes to me are going to be the big difference maker as they make their way onto the Rift. As Harold's going to get started up here. Pace is waiting
for an item. Let's see what he
maybe
buys.
R?
Well, no, he just bought a BF sword.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Just looking for that IE as soon as possible, and just going to put him in a good spot. I mean, you know, we talked about that trade with the cash-in, and it was a T1 trade overall, but the damage did get soaked up pretty nicely into Paze's pockets, at least. So there goes the mid-turret already, 16 minutes into the game. And no mid-turret now for Gen G, as both Rift Heralds were taken here by T1 in this game.
And for Zeus in particular, and to a certain extent for Doran as well, having these Hextech gates available is extremely valuable because it allows you to get access to flanks that normally you might not quite be able to. Doran hasn't backed in a while. We see triple backs coming through, and might mean that Gen G is looking to perhaps more aggressively contest that next Drake coming up. Chovy is going to get spotted here, but Carrier doesn't have the backup just now. Owner making his way over, and Chovy should suspect that something's up.
He saw that coming. There was a ward in the enemy jungle as well. Saw Owner just charging in towards him. So, yeah, Chovy's just going to be hanging on the bottom side, as he does pretty much in any game from Gen G. This is what he does on red side. He's like, okay, I'm just going to go bot lane now. And if you guys need me, just call me. I'll be ready for Drake fights. And I'll just be split pushing. The top laners have not left. Two top turrets still alive, as now Nautilus ult into Faker. Could be a lot, but Owner is in position. And yeah, just the threat of the Sejuani is going to be enough to push Gen G away.
So I know Owner was there, but even if Owner wasn't there, I don't know if that works.
He's pretty tanky, like we said, you know?
Yeah.
The Rod, Victor, and he's going
flash.
for Sheriffs next, so he's going to be in a good spot. Like, the Victor can really just get into melee range. Now, we'll have to see that third item if he goes for Lich Bane. And I mean, it is Victor for Faker because he has been doing this recently.
For this next fight, it's really important that Paze actually does finish his item. Because if he doesn't actually get the finish on that, I think they will be lacking the damage that they need to chew through some of the tankier members. On T1, and they don't have that much time, 30 seconds for the next objective. Both top laners do have teleport available. And based on this zoom in, I'm saying that he will have it available for this next fight.
Can he get, well, with the Hextech Rift, probably?
No, he'll be in time. Yeah, it's
and
just
it's
because
Draven,
of the
right? He doesn't have upgraded boots. I think he's gonna get there like right when it spawns.
It's pure glass cannon. Yeah, no. If Keria gets even Keria or Zeus gets even remotely close, they're in trouble.
We're just gotta be careful. You see Peanuts actually getting in there. Chaos Storm already as Faker. Again, this tanky Victor just runs up to them. Does not scared of anything.
Zeus has flash.
Let's see.
Doran is in mid, trying to get Prio there.
Toby with Sedge ultimate trying to frontline and trying to bait out hooks. He's going to get one. Interesting teleport. Just wants to be on the side of his team.
Doran able to actually charge up his Narbar up on that wave.
Well, now he's going to be in the front line as they're trying to burst him down before Mega. Can they do it? It looks like no, as Owner's going to be in that front line. Takes a massive amount of damage alongside. But look at Zeus in the back line and Chovy as well. Who's going to win this backline fight as the Draven is just shelling into the Aurelia? Zeus will be taken out as Guma pushes them away. Chovy also taken down, though. A lot of low health bars on the side of Gen.G, as at least they have their jungler, though. Peanut sticking around. It means that T1 can't do this dragon, and Peanut is going to just take the red buff.
And by the end of that, it's a favorable trade for Gen.G. They trade one member up, so they only give up two. And 3 members die for T1, and crucially, Pace stays alive throughout all of it. You have the incredibly close attempt at 100 to 0ing Doran here, but he does stay alive in the end. Does go up to Meganar, and as a result is able to tank an incredible amount of damage. And then we again have the value of this Annie getting a 2-man stun early on there, on that fight, kind of locking down the front line and buying Pace the time that he needed to. Faker still able to win the back half, so you have 2 halves of the fight that are kind of won for both teams, but by the end of it, as mentioned, Draven gets a big cash in, and now gold, dead even.
Yeah, and a lot of that is in your Draven, who has Last Whisper now, so yeah, pretty much any target he'll be fine with. As we saw that Gen.G, I thought maybe they were gonna, edge towards the Baron that has recently spawned and maybe try to threaten that at least, but you can see that this Hextech is just too meaningful as Doran will take a full Chaos Storm to the face. Will run out of his Meganar as well.
And
Zeus is just top lane because he has teleport.
Does have teleport available. Also, no Meganar available for Doran. He's completely zoned out. Faker took care of him, so T1 can contest here. Don't have to.
Okay, it looks like they want to take the fight afterwards. The steal attempt not working as Faker is getting jumped on. He's got a massive shield, but it's not massive enough as Doran going to get hooked by Keria on the backside of the fight. Definitely a nice big one for the side of T1, but look at this engage for Gen.G now. Chovy and Peanut in the back line, and Chovy's just so tanky as well. Zeus tries to access the back line, but just gets demolished by the Draven, who picks up yet another kill as Gumayusi is gone. Down will go the T1 members, and down should go this Baron for Gen.G.
And after Gen.G get a fight that is slightly in their favor, the subsequent one, they completely run over T1. A false sense of security knowing that Doran is in the fight, but a beautiful collapse coming through there from the light, and then that re-engage from Peanut.
Is he really going to try to steal this? I mean, this is kind of close, actually, as he's getting into the pit. The Chaos Storm is there as well. The damage, it's there, and it's stolen! You gotta be kidding me! They let the Sejuani in the front door! As now Faker's probably not long for this world. But the Baron is stolen away. A lot of kill gold given over to Gen.G at the end of that fight.
As apparently we got an almost 1,500 Draven, or thus far we've had 1,500 gold generated by the Draven passive, which is nuts. This turn from the light, already incredible. And then I want you to pay attention to Peanut, his emote game here.
Top of the morning.
Finds a beautiful re-engage, multi-man stun there as well, W from the light, and that fight subsequently won. And then you're home at night, and owner just knocks on your front door and just walks in, and he takes your Baron and he leaves.
You can't just get away with this.
He just got. Why was he getting away with this? And the reason is
Chaos Storm.
yeah, Faker buying a lot of space for him, and the Sejuani incredibly tanky. A lot of cooldowns are gone for Gen G, so don't have this CC available to actually keep away this Sejuani.
And Faker's damage is the one that gets the Baron low enough for him to smite,
exactly.
too. So without that, you're not getting a smite, you're just dying after walking in the front door.
The game state is still very good for Gen G after all that, because Draven is monstrously fed. We do have Chovy now also getting close to being fully online, and even with the Baron buff there, a lot of members of T1 were not actually able to get it, right? Keria has it, Faker will have it. I don't think Zeus will as well, as no, I don't think he had the purple buff, so the overall value will mostly be mitigating. So you're not actually going to be able to get a lot out of it. As we can see, a minus 800 Baron power play.
Nice.
You'll still take that when you're T1, because this could have been a game-losing fight, and it's not good, but you're in the game.
It's not a game-winning fight, it's a game-salvaging fight, potentially. And we don't know exactly how this will turn out, but oh boy. Guma just backing in mid as Peanut is trying to assassinate him by himself, and he's gonna get punished as he goes in alone. Look at his reaction on the cam too. He's like, oh no.
Yeah, that was.
He's having a great time though, as Peanut.
That was 700 gold over to Guma. He kind of been in a rut in this game. Getting targeted is an immobile carry, also going for the on-hit build, so needs to play a lot more aggressive, a lot more forward, putting yourself in harm's way. But when Peanut is just like, hey, take the shutdown, friend. Yeah, that's Dom. That's Lord Dom's now done. Oh man, this just give me 3 of these.
Yeah, he's keeping it interesting, you know.
It's important.
And you can see the angle, but they see him coming in, so.
The fact that Owner also, like, Owner and Carry are both waiting for like half a second to make sure that Peanut actually commits. Shield bow's available. There is plated steel caps as well, so Guma deceptively tanky. And now we're going to go into this next fight with the gold again being dead even.
It's a big shutdown. I think that it was interesting timing. There's like no objective really to take as, uh-oh, this is not good timing. Peanut, no Trickster, no way out of this one, no flash. He's even gonna Cyclone just in desperation. Peanut will get caught out as Zeus is also just gonna die. Not sure how that happened on the backside of this fight.
Everything needs to stay balanced, Valdez.
It really does. I mean, this has happened so many times this game. And now
Oh, Doran.
A 30-meter TP. Here we go, looking for the wraparound on Faker, who does have flash, and he is quite tanky. Is he tanky enough, though? As, yeah, he's just going to flash. As teleport traded for flash, as meanwhile, Guma is alone, pushing mid.
They should still be able to get the Drake. I love the audacity of T1. So he's like, no, we're starting a Drake. This is ours. We're taking it. Do need to get out now, though.
Oh, they're both going to get ever frosted here. As nice buff for Owner might not be as lucky, but maybe able to turn this one around. Delight in a lot of trouble. He's going to go down. And look at what happened to the Draven. He just ran straight into the Victor damage. As down will go Pace as well. And now Doran is just on the run. This game is a wild goose chase over and over again. As Doran will be able to get out. And so will Chovy somehow. But that is going to be Drake and kills to the side of T1.
I stand corrected. It was actually T1's Dragon. I'm sorry, T1. I didn't know. My apologies. That is it's the Varus flank, of course.
Of course.
We didn't think about the Varus flank, Velda.
I knew it was coming. I didn't want to spoil it.
No, I think everyone was caught by surprise on that one. So Peanut dies here. Very, very not good. Gets blown up. Nice flash, it's a teleport, there you go. So, a over-enthusiastic teleport from Zeus leads to him immediately dying.
Don't TP into this team.
And this is where you're like, okay, things are looking up. But with that blast cone, they crucially just don't spot Guma. So they don't know that he's right there to join the fight. And Hayes looking for a cash-in. Also can't go back because then he walks into Nautilus and then I think, yeah, Doran Or at least Chovy got out. I don't know if Doran got out. Replay doesn't run that long.
He did, yeah.
Okay, perfect. So now we are still even.
Oh, yeah. We're, you know, balanced like all things should be. Oh, okay. Chovy's going to get spotted first. So Zeus just going to play here. But now T1 looking for their comfort Baron zone. As Chovy versus Zeus, probably Chovy wins this.
Ooh, well, right now, yes.
Based on his current state in the game.
Yeah, once the Wits End is finished, I do think Zeus is going to have a much better time, is building towards that. Chovy also has a stopwatch. And with how these fights have been going, I wanna play a game. Normally we only play in challenges. Who's gonna win this game, Valdez? Because
ooh, I don't know. This is hard.
I don't know. We've seen that both teams are able to win team fights. When it comes to straight-up 5v5s with no backline access, with everyone's position being known...
well, Zeus might answer the question for us as he's going in onto Chovy. Is it going to be enough damage? Yes, it should be. As Chovy is still on the run, and he will be able to get out. Flash expended for Zeus.
Zeus doesn't have vision. Chovy also crucially missing his stolen ultimate there. So it's not even remotely close. Now Genji has a really aggressive position here.
Faker is just running into them, did not have vision of this. He's got a massive...
Tibbers TP!
Tibbers is going to be very useful, and now Guma's in a lot of trouble as well. The gank rush works out for Genji, and they will be taking down this Baron. As Peanut...
The game is... It's just chaos!
Oh, Owner's still here. But yeah, he's just going to dash away. Just try to survive as Nautilus returns to the Rift. And he should be going down eventually. You'd have to imagine Genji, a massive step forward now in this game. Not looking as balanced as it once was.
That might have been the breaking point of this game. Valdez, is Peanut going to die?
Okay, the lights here. We got TP here. Zeus is just going in on this one as Peanut with a excellent bait in this case. He's got stopwatch as well. That is another kill for the Draven, who has 9 on the game.
1,954 gold generated.
That's pretty good.
And this is such an elaborate bait because if you're Faker, like, oh my god, why is Draven there? And then the light comes from downtown, finds the hard engage. Victor, even with this build, immediately gonna go down. And this game is... he's just he's actually just taunting him.
Yeah. It's like, please follow me down the river.
Oh.
And of course the game does not end there. The fighting, rather, as Faker 1v2. Cyclone and tons of damage coming in from the Stolen Chaos Storm. Faker is incredibly tanky. I keep saying that, but he keeps dying, so it's probably not true. Not compared to the damage that Genji have. At least in this game, we have 36 kills so far, 31 minutes. This is the action that you should expect from the LCK guys.
Oh, after that first series where T1 slapped Genji 2-0, I was worried that we would be deprived of this type of gameplay, Valdez, but fortunately, not the case. Genji now, we also, okay, yeah, well, of course.
We have surpassed now. Well,
we're still even.
Okay, so we're tied. We're tied.
I think we will surpass. Save that on this one.
Yeah. I think we'll get past the most kills, by the way, in any game in Spring. For you guys who are wondering. We're going to watch this again. Faker went for this tanky build, and it means that he gets to get like a couple more abilities off, but especially in situations like this, like, it just doesn't really matter. So he just dies anyway.
Yeah, there is no reinforcements coming either. Well, there is, but it's for Genji. So not a lot of options there.
But not for you.
Not for him, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And what a turnaround here from the Genji bot lane in particular, because the first series was really a story about how Haze and the Light were completely unable to stand up. Was it either to Guma and Keria? Was it to Faker? Didn't really matter, but neither of them stacked up. And now we have a monstrously fed Draven. And I might still be inclined to vote for Delight nonetheless, because his Annie has been incredible, finding key turns repeatedly, right? Setting up the traps. And Delight is such a good hard engaged player. We know this already. That was what he excelled on. When he was playing on Brion, it was, of course, his Rakan that was more notable, but there were plenty of other champions that he had really good games on. And Annie is just, it's great. It's both an Enchanter and a hard engaged champion.
Yeah.
Just do it all.
Wow. And yeah, I was going to say, like, T1 are almost definitely banning Annie in game 2. I don't think that... you'll probably leave the Jace up, you know. I think that's fine. Or maybe don't ban Karma and play out like a kind of different bottom lane scenario, but I think that's...
Yeah, the Karma would be my guess as well.
The Annie's just too much of an issue in this game.
T1 still have a level 18 Victor. But in straight up 5v5, it's so tough, and Gen G's not really giving them the skirmishes that they're looking for unless they are a man up.
Yeah, and a lot of the little skirmishes have just been straight up won by Gen G. Like, say what you want about Peanut, but he's done a fantastic job of like really finding the unique angles that we have seen in this game to, you know, kind of push the lead even farther forward for his team. Gen G are going to push in here pretty early on. You know, there's 3 minutes until the next Hextech Drake, which is going to be a huge one, but they're already taking control over the entire bottom jungle.
We haven't even talked about this Doran build yet. It's the epitome of Doran on this Gen G roster. It's like, Doran, you have one job. Don't die. You get the blind pick, you get counter picked. He did get resources this game. Peanut actually did visit him a decent amount of times, but that's not always the case. And now he's going Triforce into full tank Gnar. Just to make sure that the rest of his team can play the game. Deathcap now finished for Faker. That is huge. And one mispositioned fight, you know, Pace dying immediately, Chovy getting zoned out early on, can still be a game-deciding mistake from Gen G, but with the amount of map control that they have, should be able to, at the very least, be setting themselves up for a really nice Baron here.
Absolutely. Like, Gen G's composition, they still have this range issue, I suppose you could call it, but they have so many ways to close the gap, and when you have that vision advantage, and when you do have this big of a gold lead, you can just kind of press your buttons and get into range forcefully, right? You can engage and make T1 fight you on your turf, so I think they should be totally fine with that, as we do have Magi's purchased here for Chovy, and I suppose he had 10 stacks on the Dark Seal. I actually didn't see.
He did. Yeah, we also have a bunch of
Might as well, right?
Already activated. Both teams know. Probably going to be the game-deciding fighter. Peanut already on the flank.
We have 3 GAs as well. Peanut's got one, so there's that. There's also Stopwatch as, okay, trying to throw that into Owner, but that was a Silas.
That's okay. Look at that. Look at that hijack cooldown.
Yeah, he'll be back very soon.
Yeah, he's not too bothered by this.
We're fighting over the Baron positioning, essentially at this time. Either team, if you get in range and you give them like 15 seconds, they can take down the Baron. So it's definitely kind of walking a tightrope around this objective.
So if the Drake spawning so soon, Gen G will be able to force T1 to make an awkward decision. You want to give over Hextech Soul, or do you want to go for the Baron? Right now, though, T1 is still in control of this area, are being respected. But Gen G, perhaps through that prio on top side, can also just look to get themselves an inner and then rotate from there. You have full vision of the Baron pit.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, as long as they don't get caught off guard, Gen G, they're like, okay, if you want to engage on us in the top lane, be our guest. Paze is a fountain laser at this point. He doesn't quite have the range of the laser, but if he gets in range of you, he will blast you down real quick. So,
or Scuttle.
What Scuttle?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's gone. And Gen G, I mean, we're at a point in the game now, 37 minutes in, where I'm not sure if you want to give away a free Baron, though. Obviously, Hextech Soul is gigantic. Like, it is just insanely massive, right? But it seems like they don't want to give this away. And like I said, you give them 15 seconds, this Baron is going to go down, as it should be taken here by T1. Yes, it will. And the front line of Gen G is being ripped to shreds as Dorn is going to miss his Meganar, as we do have FaZe in the backline just shelling axe after axe into this front line, and it should be enough damage. After all, even through all of the GAs, is a massive flawless duet does come in. Faker is alone up here in the jungle somehow, as he should be taken out eventually, as even the boomerang to slow him down. Chovy will take him, and Zeus is the only one left. He's trying to stop this mid-wave, but it doesn't matter. They're just going to push in top.
Not going to be enough. Chovy picks up more kills, and this game number 1, Valdez, gonna go to Gen G. Took a little bit of time to get going, but once they started team fighting, they didn't stop.
They did not stop, and that is going to do it. The Nexus turrets will fall, and so will the aforementioned Nexus. GG! Gen G storm off the stage, as they have a lot to talk about, of course, before getting into the next one. As my vote is for Annie, but FaZe had a game that is... this is just another example of FaZe, who is like, I am a new man. Like, I am not nervous anymore. I will stand up to the best players, even when my team is not. Like, FaZe, you remember his last game on Lucian, where his team was just falling over themselves against KT. He's like, well, I'll try to do it by myself. This time he had a team behind him, and he was able to carry insanely well. So I'm sure FaZe and Delight will both get tons and tons of votes, but Gen G absolutely deserved this first one.
And one of the other big deciding factors to me in this game was kind of the giddiness that we saw Gen G play with. Peanut literally gave over a 700 gold shutdown, and it was like, hey, who cares?
Emoting as he jumps into the fight. He's having a good time. Chovy the most damage in the game, even though the Draven was